All right, Trump effed up and a lot of people are pissed off. Even some right-wing commentators are online feuding publicly with their MAGA fan base and saying, dude, Trump just took it way too far. He's stripping away the one thing that makes America so great, and that's due process for anybody on American soil. But we'll break that down in just 1 second. I want to show you this clip. We need more older white men taking a stand for immigrants like this.
And know one thing, only the minority of Americans don't want you here. The majority wants you here, and you do a great job, and if it wasn't for people like you, we couldn't be a great country we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
The corporate street to tell you that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Get stronger, fight back. You're too young to remember what the kids in this country did in Vietnam. They stopped the war in 1960s. They protested. They changed it. You can change it too, and don't let anybody deny you your right to live in America, be free, and prosper from the opportunity this country gives us, because you invest in it every single day you get up.
Thank you. Thank you.
You do a great job. Thank you. What they're doing to you is unfair. It just makes me so angry I can't stand it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Incredibly well said, incredibly passionate, and it is unfair. Now listen, if some gang member comes illegally to the United States and only brings violence, sure, get them out of here. But you can't just be deporting asylum seekers, literally disappearing them. I mean, this dude's lawyer, one of the only people who keeps track of him, didn't know where he was for 3 or 4 days and then found out he was in a Salvadorian mega prison under Trump's order. This story is absolutely wild, and we've got to keep talking about it. I mean, I want to show you this right-wing commentator absolutely going off on his fans. But first, let me just show you some human rights abuses that aren't happening in El Salvador, but are actually happening in Miami. This is from friend of the show, Aaron Parnas, and this is really important. Check this out.
We have some disturbing news right now coming out of the Chrome Detention Processing Facility in North Miami, where multiple women are now speaking out after being held at the facility, the ICE detention facility, talking about inhumane conditions that the United States government is subjecting undocumented migrants to in these facilities. Immigrant women.
And this gets graphic, but listen, I mean, if this is happening in Miami, you can't even imagine what's happening in El Salvador. It's supposed to be one of the most violent, dirty prisons out there.
And say they were held like, quote, animals in the ICE detention facility, chained for hours on a prison bus without access to food, water, or a toilet. They were told by guards to urinate on the floor, held like sardines in a jar, with as many as 27 women in a small holding cell, sleeping on a concrete floor, only being allowed 1 3-minute shower over the course of 3 to 4 days in custody. These women were held at the Chrome North Processing Center in Miami, which is a detention center reserved for men. And according to USA Today, they had no criminal background. They were taken into custody on alleged immigration violations. It's time to have a serious conversation about the treatment of individuals at these detention centers, especially at this Chrome North Processing Facility in Miami. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack, so be sure to subscribe for free at the link.
Absolutely wild, and it ties back to ICE just abusing people, mistreating people, and deporting people for no reason. Let's check out Glenn Greenwald, who, you know, has had an interesting political journey. He used to be a little bit more left-wing, then he called himself centrist. Lately, I would not call him MAGA. I think it would be unfair to say he's a dude that puts on a MAGA hat, but he's definitely a little bit sympathetic at times, and he's garnered a massive MAGA audience. That's the real point. His audience are full of MAGA people. So, I mean, check this out. It starts off with this Tim Miller tweet. He says, "You are telling me this man is Trende Aragua. He was so dangerous we had to send him to a foreign prison camp to be beaten with no due process. Do you have any soul left, Marco Rubio?" And this is the gay makeup artist that I was just talking about that was deported with zero due process simply because of the tattoo that you see in this first picture right here. Trump is going with this absolutely authoritarian, dystopian process of deporting people based on their tattoos. Literally based on their tattoos. And he copied that from what they did in Venezuela. But the thing is, the gangs in Venezuela, it is a requirement to get the tattoos, certain tattoos. So it's very easy to spot who's a part of the gang. Trump and his people are just profiling racially and based off of tattoos at this point. But then Glenn Greenwald, who I was just talking about, says he takes a strong stance, and his MAGA fan base was not happy. He says, All available evidence strongly suggests that at least one of the Venezuelans shipped to a monstrous prison in El Salvador for life has nothing to do with Tren de Aragua. And then in parentheses, though the refusal to allow hearings means all cases are uncertain. And that's the big thing right there. What the hell? Far worse, he was in the U.S. legally. Again, Glenn Greenwald is taking this stance. He says, all available evidence strongly suggests that at least one of the Venezuelans shipped to a monstrous prison has nothing to even do with the gang. Now, let's read some of the comments because this is where it gets interesting. He starts to get very, very combative with the people in his own audience. And really quickly, life has been kind of stressful lately between all of the work we do to stay on top of the news every day, between all of the work we do at our actual jobs or school, whatever you spend your days doing. I feel like half of us are running on caffeine and stress most of the time. That's why I'm excited to have Via sponsoring this episode. Now, these sponsors genuinely keep this space going at a time when it feels like Trump is attacking us. So let me explain why Via has been a game changer. Via gummies kind of relax me after a long day of working. If I'm locked in making video after video after video, I can take some of their THC-free CBD gummies and it just relaxes my mind. It's just CBD. Now, they also have THC flower. They also have calming drops. They have a lot of things designed to enhance your everyday life in a way that actually works. They have gummies designed for stress or for love or for high energy, all of the above. You can decide whatever you want. And, you know, the best part is Via ships everywhere across the United States. Legally, it comes discreetly and directly to your door. No medical card required. No hassle at all. Plus, if you're not sure what to get, they've got this quick product finder quiz that will match you with the best option. So if you're stressed and you want THC-free stuff, you can get these specific gummies. Or if you want to smoke this type of flower, you can get this. It's all up to you. And it's 2025, guys. Go check it out. It's really, really sick. If you're 21 plus, go treat yourself and grab 15% off of your first order with the code BLUEHEART at viahemp.com. Again, click the link in the description, use code BLUEHEART, and you get 15% off. It is a great, great deal. All of the information is down below in the description. Thanks to Via for making this video possible, and thank you to you guys. All right, back to the video. Now let's read some of the comments. A MAGA person named Lisa said, I'm hoping you vetted your sources. If so, you should send your evidence to the State Department and demand answers. And Glenn Greenwald said, how do you not understand that the way the U.S. government is supposed to prove guilt before consigning someone to prison for life, especially in a foreign country they've never been to, is to have a court hearing where they present the evidence of guilt? I just want to go back to what I was saying earlier. This is all surrounding due process. If you're on American soil, you have due process. You have the right to a fair trial, to present your evidence. If you have an immigration lawyer especially, which this dude did, that's the core of the argument, don't forget. Then another person named Squid4547 said, based on what? News reports? And Glenn Greenwald said, given the U.S. government's claims that they can deport anyone with no hearings or evidence presented, news reports are the only way to judge whether someone has been wrongly accused. That's the whole point of due process. Through malice or ineptitude, governments will err. Very, very well said. Surprisingly, I mean, yeah, well said. Someone said, oh, Glenn, you're just turning into a weird, sad virtue signaler now. You can tell these people are MAGA, right? Glenn Greenwald said, I've been arguing for the urgency of due process for decades. It's how I began my journalism career, by denouncing the civil liberty abuses of the war on terror, including denial of due process. You're just upset that I'm not waiving that belief for Trump. Okay, so he's directly kind of confronting the Trump cult now. And this dude was massively involved in Snowden, so that's what he's referring to. And then someone said, when did you become so credulous? Glenn Greenwald said, how do you not comprehend that guilt, especially for crimes like terrorism, is supposed to be proven by the U.S. government in a hearing or a court? Because it refuses to do so, we're left with the task of analyzing available evidence from incomplete sources, which is very, very true. This all goes back to the core point. We just need due process. And Trump is openly stirring up fear so he can justify expanding our executive authority and deporting people without due process. I want to play you this clip that is very, very interesting. Now stick around because Nick Fuentes, the worst person in the world, the worst person you could possibly know, recently said, the liberals have been right about Trump this whole time. Now hear me out. I know you don't like listening to him, but just check out what he says.
Liberals were right fundamentally about Trump. whether he has good intentions or bad intentions, whether he means well or not. Some people blame his advisors. Some people blame people around him. Whatever you think about his culpability, he is in effect, okay? Maybe not consciously or intentionally, but in effect, what he is a demagogue. What he is a populist demagogue. And directionally, what liberals said about him, which is that he was stirring up the rubes, animating the rubes with nativist rhetoric and ginning up resentment against the system to empower himself and the people around him, and then brought the swamp closer to the periphery in his first and second administration, willing to say and do anything. Yeah, that all kind of turned out to be true.
Yeah, it turned out to be exactly true. Thank you for realizing this years and years later. But let me know what you guys think about all of this. I think we really need to keep highlighting this story. I wouldn't say it's flying under the radar. People are definitely talking about the 23-year-old gay makeup artist who was deported to a prison for no reason, to a very violent, monstrous prison for no reason. People are talking about it, but not enough. The onus is on us to make sure this story is spread relentlessly, because I don't want this to be something that sort of flees the public consciousness in 5 days, because you know how short the attention span is. So we have to keep talking about this. In a year, we better keep talking about this story and all of the crazy things that have happened thus far. And I'll leave it at that. I love all of you guys. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, and peace out.